repeat here. So we're working the second series of this foam rolling, and we're gonna work now on the low back and the hips, kind of the outer hips and glutes. So especially if you're at home and you don't have the desk that you were used to before, you might be sitting more than you wanted to. This is a great way to open up, release any tension in the low back, the outer hips, the piriformis. Obviously some of that sciatic will get involved with as well. So the foam roller will be horizontal this time. So it's gonna be behind us, and again, the easiest way for me to get into it is I'm gonna bring it right up against my tailbone, and then with my hands on it, I'm gonna bring one hand behind me and start to sit on top of it. I know this sounds kind of crazy. Now there's not a lot happening in actually the back of your glutes, but if you just roll forward and back a few times, it's just a nice little way to kind of roll out any tension, get you a little used to having this on your glutes, especially again if foam rolling is a little new to you. Now, as I said before, the foam roller will roll up your shirt, your hair, so be careful. As you can see, I've traveled back quite a bit, so I'm just gonna move a little bit farther forward so I don't lose you guys in camera focus. So from here, easiest way to do this is one at a time, I promise. Right hand comes down, left hand comes down. You're kind of in this crab walk from olden days. Then you're gonna bring your right forearm down, followed by your left forearm, and then you're just gonna slide slowly, right shoulder, left shoulder. Now this is way too high on my low back, so I'm just gonna lift my hips and roll it down. Now it's gonna be on the bottom of my, or the top of my tailbone, kind of right at the top of the glutes, at the bottom of my spine, but not on my spine. And as you can see, my hands are free, so it's not shooting out from underneath me. Now, I wanna make sure I feel comfortable, so if there is any tension or pulling in my low back, I wanna make sure I adjust up or down an inch or two until I feel more of a lengthening or traction, so to speak. Now, from here, I'm gonna walk my feet together and let my knees drop open wide. Lots of things to do with the hands here. One hand to heart, one hand to belly. Arms can go out wide, arms can go behind the head, my personal favorite. We're gonna keep our gaze up though, so again, we keep our neck nice and as it is meant to be. And you'll start to feel a stretch on your inner thighs here. If this is way too intense, walk your feet farther away from you. And if you need more, bring them in closer, letting those knees drop open. I like a little somewhere in between so that I can actually get the stretch into my inner thighs. Again, I want to make sure I'm feeling no discomfort in my low back here. This is kind of right on the top of my glutes. We're going to take just a few more breaths as we inhale. Exhale. Good again, breathe in. Those knees are just dropping open as we exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Two more, breathe in. Breathe out. One more, inhale. Exhale. So now bringing your hands back to the foam roller. Again, if you're where you are in place, it shouldn't move on you. And when you're ready, you're gonna pull those knees together to touch. What is it now? So now with our knees together to touch, we're gonna gently start to pull the knees in one at a time. Again, once I feel like I'm secure and that the foam roller isn't gonna go around or shoot out from underneath me, I'm gonna hug my knees into my chest and start to feel the release in my low back. With the hips elevated, it gives us a bigger low back release or opening, and it also lets the thighs rest on our belly, which is really great in aiding digestion. So we're gonna hold here 3 more breaths. One more breath in. Exhale. So, similar to what we did when we were on our back, with our hands either holding the edges of the foam roller or just beside us, we're gonna gently just start to rock our knees, which are stacked side to side. I'm massaging out the sacral band that runs the length of my low back. And so again, it's just a gentle rock side to side. I'm rocking a little onto the top of the outer hip and glute here as well. Might feel a bit of tension or tightness when you go to the sides of the hips. That's okay, that's normal. Think about all the movements you do and how much this is used. So again, it's gonna be really tight and full of a lot of that fascia. So we really wanna be able to open it up and start to release. When we do that, we also help release and get rid of some of that low back pain or discomfort. Now, like we did, we're gonna stay on the left side one more time. Now, by knees stacked, I mean one on top of the other, but my knees don't stay touching. They kind of drift apart, that's fine. We're gonna go 3 circles, let's go 4. Four circles will go clockwise first, just moving those knees around. Now, as you start to play here, maybe your circles are really small, maybe they're too small, too big. You can play around with this, but obviously we're massaging the outside of that left glute, hip, and thigh. So you're gonna be feeling different things with different size circles. Now, once you've gone 4 circles one direction, that clockwise, we'll switch going counterclockwise, and again, just playing around here. And if all of a sudden you're like, I don't want to stop, well then just go as many times as you want. Just make sure that you even it out, both directions and on both sides. Beautiful. Now this foam roller does tend to move in these circles on our side, so again, you might need to readjust. It might shoot out from underneath you, that's okay. And after you've gone 4 times in one direction, we're just gonna find a point on this next one and just kind of hold here. Sometimes I'll drop my feet or kind of just relax my whole body, depending on where that point of tension is the greatest. Sometimes I'll manipulate it by pulling my knees into my chest. But just holding, breathing there for 3 breaths. One more breath in. Exhaling. And then we're going to come back to center. Now, you may need to set your feet down and readjust. And then when you're ready, we're going to move on to our right side. And we're going to find that same movement. Again, noticing the knees might drift apart. That's quite all right. Picking your direction and just starting to, again, make those circles. Massaging that outer hip, outer glutes. Go that opposite direction. Make sure you change that direction up. And then last time or one after you start to even up, you're gonna find a spot. And again, you're just gonna start to kind of put your weight there and decide, maybe you drop your feet, maybe the stretch is different side to side. Playing with where it is the most intense, and then just taking a few breaths there. Inhaling, exhaling. 2 more, breathe in. Deep breath out. Last one, inhale. Exhale. We'll draw the knees back up into center, and then we'll firmly plant those feet to the floor. Easy way out, just to lift those hips, roll that foam roller out of the way, and gently hug the knees into the chest. So a wonderful pose to do in the morning, especially in the evening after work. You're having any type of low back pains or sciatic. Now you know the series that will work for you. Have a wonderful Thank you for being here and tuning in. My name is Tara P, and I'll see you next time.